Hey Josh Bone, how's it going?
Good, Rita. How are you?
Doing great. Hello, students. Thank you so much for tuning in to our newest ArchiCAD tutorial for students, Mastering the Morph Tool. I'm Rita Hicks, and I head up the Education Department for North America, and I'm joined by my ArchiCAD guru colleague, Josh Bone. So far over our tutorials, we have talked about how BIM will rock your studio world. Last month, we talked about creating complex profiles. If you'd like to catch up on either of these webinars, please visit our blog at blog.graphisoftus.com. So far, I've gotten really positive responses from all the students saying the webinars are great and they're a quick intro to ArchiCAD and its many features. I just want to say thanks for all the feedback and please keep it coming. A handful of students have requested an intro to the Morph tool and how this is different than using SketchUp. So it's that easy. You ask and we will deliver. So Josh, I'll turn it over to you to explain the capabilities of the Morph tool and for the students that are using SketchUp, how this is different and how they can bring their SketchUp files into ArchiCAD.
Thank you, Rita. So first, let me start here again, as we have in each of the preceding sessions, out of the box settings. So when you open up your version of ArchiCAD, you'll see the exact same thing that I'm seeing here on my screen. I'm just using the commercial template that comes with ArchiCAD 19 out of the box. The question relating to SketchUp, how the Morph tool compares. First, know this, that you have the ability in ArchiCAD to be able to open up an SKP file directly into ArchiCAD. Plus, in addition to that, we have the ability to save as an SKP file. If I go into 3D after drawing some basic walls, let me just go ahead and draw some walls here. And when I go into 3D now, you'll see from this window I have the ability to go to File, Save As, and from the Save As option here, I have a number of different file formats. We have Google Earth, but you'll see here the SKP file. So we can save directly to an SKP file, and on both. Today I'm running on my Mac. ArchiCAD runs native on your Mac, on your Windows 10, any Windows 7, Windows 8 device. So even El Capitan, we are now running smoothly on the newest iOS from Apple. So with that, you do have the ability to collaborate with SketchUp, and SketchUp's a great tool, and we can bring the files in, go back out, and if you're not, I'm sure that all of you that have used SketchUp over the years, your 3D warehouse, I'm just going to go there now so you can see in real time that any of these files that I want to bring back in, we have the ability of downloading them. And depending on which version you can pull in, we can read version 7, we can read version 8. So if I want to go back in here and pick up a Kohler fixture, we can go pull that in and bring it right into ArchiCAD. So not a problem here. If I want to bring that into ArchiCAD, I can do so. And once I bring this in as an object, then I have the ability from here, and you'll see version 8, 6, 2013, 2014, 2015, we can bring in the most recent files going all the way back to even previous to SketchUp 6 files. So we do have the ability to interface SketchUp, and that works really well inside of ArchiCAD, both importing and exporting file formats and any information that you can pull in from the 3D warehouse. You can use that information in ArchiCAD. But inside of ArchiCAD, one of the tools that I want to focus, the main focus we want to have today is on the Morph tool. The Morph tool is a very intuitive, simple tool, very much like SketchUp. If I go to the Morph tool, I have a few different options here with my geometry methods that I'd like to choose from. I'm going to start right now with a rectangular shape. It's just going to be flat. If I want to start to work with revolves and I want to work with a box, I can do so. But I want to start here with a 24-foot by 24-foot box. In this box right now, if I hit F3, it goes into 3D. You'll see that I have this flat plane. And in ArchiCAD, if I select this plane and I click here, I have the ability to push and pull. All I did was shift click on the morph, and now when I highlight the plane that I want to work with, this pet palette appears. Again, shift click selects. When I click here, I have my simple pet palette. I'll go to the first tool here, the push and pull, and I'll move up and we'll create a box 24 feet tall. So here is my box that I've created. And from here now, if I rest, you'll see I'm using my control box here again. And in my control box palette that I want to show, I want to make sure here that I have this set to divisions of 4. And when I set this to 4, if I want to find the center of this, I can click on this node and I can start to do a number of different things. One of the options you'll see here is I can start to move this in or out. And if I want to lock that into a plane, if I hit E, it'll allow me to go vertical. So by resting on this plane and using this edge here, so I want to just offset this edge. It's moving vertical now. If I hit E, it will change that plane, allow me to go back here in the X direction. So I can lock that in at that point. Now I want to come back here and I want to go in and I want to click here on the pencil. And on the pencil I want to change this from a rectangular shape because I can draw another rectangle inside of this. I want to move back here. I want to find the center of this here. And by doing that now, in the Morph tool, I want to come back in, and if I hold down Shift and our Control key on the Mac or Shift Control on the Windows, by clicking on that, it gives me the ability here now to select just this one line. And I want to move away from my pencil tool now and choosing what we want to, if I want to go back here to offset, if I want to go back in here and start to use different, I can control very easily any of these options. So if I want to move this line, if I want to curve this, if I want to offset this, change this plane, I have the ability to do that. I can even come back in here now and I can tell this that I want to shift and control click on this plane. So if I shift click, it selects the entire morph, but if I do a shift control, it only selects the one plane. And I can do this by plane, I can do this with an individual line, and now if I want to come back in here and offset this down 10 feet, I have the ability to do so. If I come back in here again now, I just want to shift click on the morph. I can tell this that I want to set this up right now, and I want it to go back in here and I go back to my line tool, and on my line tool I want to set this up that now when I click here, I want to offset this edge. You'll see how I can push this back in halfway distance. We can adjust that now. You'll also see if I click on the edge with a Mercedes, I have the ability to go in and fillet or chamfer that corner. So I can give this a radius. I can give that an angle. I'll choose to do a fillet here, and I'll set this up to a 4-foot radius. And I can apply that to the one edge there. You'll see if I rest out here on the front, I click here now, and I want to manipulate this. I have the ability to come back in here to my offset tool, and with my offset tool, I can shrink this down. This plane, I can go out larger. If I hit with an option here, let's say I want to do a copy of this, if I hit the Alt key, the Option key on my Mac, the Alt key on my Windows, I can come back in here now and set this to 2 feet. And I can set that, and if I do a Shift Control on this plane, and now come back in here and click, I can push this all the way through, and I've cut an opening in that now. So I have a lot of control in how I want to manipulate this morph. Now again, you'll see when I shift click, it selects the entire morph, and every plane here, if I rest on this edge, I can click here and I can go back in, I can offset this edge, we can move that in, we can move that out, I can give this a radius, I can offset all edges, I can copy any of these tools by hitting Alt after I'm on the command. If I give this a radius, you'll see I can come back in here now and give this a radius that we want to set up. So it makes it very easy for me to start manipulating each plane. If I want to edit a single plane here and I want to create that, I can tell this by Shift Control. It only selects the one plane. I can go back into my push-pull command, and we can start to adjust that. One of the last things I want to show you here before we go into editing an object is if I go back into plan, everything that we're creating here is now showing up. And if I cut a section through this, let's just go ahead and start here. I'll cut a section through my morph. And as I look at this now, I'll open up the section. If I choose to create right now this morph, and I go back to my plane, I want to do a polygon, I can draw this, I can give this a radius, I can create a shape here, I can choose I want to edit, I can always come back and manipulate this. And from me drawing that plane now, if I go back to 3D, here's this shape. And from this shape, I can move this into place. And wherever I choose to move this, let's say I want to move this back down here along this angle, I can go back in here now and have this use a similar type of follow me. And I can move up, I can move around, I can adjust, I can change each of these materials so that you can see we can create very complex shapes right inside of ArchiCAD. And at any point in time, I can start to take these elements, and as I want to combine them, I have the option here in modifying the Morph tool. I can union these elements to combine them together. I can smooth their faces, I can subtract, I can intersect, I can create different types of Boolean operations here working with these elements. Now, in doing this, once I unify these elements, they become single elements and I can edit them individually. I can go right back in and I can save them as objects inside of ArchiCAD. We can save them as doors, we can save them as different types of panels. We have a lot of flexibility here. I want to start here with just a cabinet, and we'll drop in a cabinet here inside of ArchiCAD. And any object, door, window, wall, we can select any component in ArchiCAD. Right click on that and turn this into a morph. So to take that selection and turn that into a morph, now look what I have the ability of doing. Just like I did with the individual morph tool, if I click here and I go back to the follow me tool, I can come out here so far, move up, I can start to move back in here now. I can finish that, cleaning that up. I can go back in and select an edge. As I click on the edge now, if I want to give that a radius of 1 inch, I can set that to a 1 inch radius. I can start to change the individual materials. I can go back in here again and tell this right now that by going to the line and drawing a line through this area, I can select just that plane with a shift control. And doing this shift control, go back to push. Now I can set up a backsplash height here as well. So that is very flexible, it's very easy to do, and again, at any time, I can take that element and go back in and save this as an object. And as we save that as an object, we have the ability to name that, and I have control here again of what type of materials we want to use, what line types, pens and colors. A lot of flexibility here in using the Morph tool. So just a good quick overview to help you get started with the Morph tool. There's a lot of great YouTube videos on the Morph, one that I've done myself. Feel free to research those, and we'll kick it back over to you now, Rita.
Thanks, Josh. That was definitely a great intro. And as Josh mentioned, there are tons of great videos out there. We've actually have a compilation on our post for this month, so check those out. It's, again, the link is blog.graphosoftus.com. You can see lots of tutorials and Morph Tool in action. Of course, my favorite will be the TIE Fighter from Star Wars, so don't miss it. And after this tutorial, I hope you all are inspired to start using ArchiCAD today. Be sure to download your free trial at myarchicad.com. As always, I'd love to hear your comments and questions, so please email me at rhicks@graphosoft.com with suggestions of future webinar topics. Or if you would like a more personalized experience, we can also set up a campus presentation. Just let me know. Be sure to like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter to stay up to date on all the latest ArchiCAD news. Thanks again for watching, and until next time.